Um, hey guys, I hope you guys finished the login flow. If not, I will check in login flow as well today into GitHub. So go back and look at it. But yeah, this is the best time that you get to start practicing, because once you get job, like I mentioned, you hardly get chance to learn something new. Okay, so each class, after finishing each class, go back and look around Google what I mentioned and what is there in the and what I missed and what topics you can learn additionally, so that you can catch it up as and when we discuss. Okay, so initially I thought of discussing Spring, but before Spring, I thought of like discussing a little bit about before going into the framework. I thought like it's good to discuss about some design patterns and what is design patterns, and we will do one or two design patterns, and you guys go back and understand remaining design patterns as well. So it's not I mean, design pattern is not something new. Okay, whatever we're doing already, we do it in some predefined way, or like some by following some definitions, by following some rules, then that becomes a pattern. What is a pattern, right? What is design patterns actually? Basically, what is pattern? It's something, a solution to the recurring problem, right? A solution to the recurring problem. If say, so there are different type of problems we come across when we're designing applications, and for that there has been n number of design patterns that has been identified, and by using those design patterns we can address um, certain problems that we encounter on a day-to-day challenges, right? So let's see what and all the different design patterns that we have. Yeah, so there are different types of design patterns, but generally design patterns in software world has been there are four a gang of four, like they decided different design patterns in a design pattern world. So we call it as GOF patterns. So what are these design patterns are? Pattern is a solution to the recurring problem in a specified context. In a specified context, a solution to the recurring problem. So in Java world, or like in the typical design pattern software world, the design patterns has been segregated into three parts. One is creational design pattern, another one is structural design pattern, another one is behavioral design patterns. Okay, so what is structural, what is creational, what is behavioral design patterns? We'll go in details of in detail into these things. Let's pick one design pattern and start working on it, and so that we can understand how it is gonna work, and then we'll go back and read about the typical concept. So let's create a new project. I'll say modern project, and I'll say quick start this time. I don't need a web app. Okay, simple DBA. Okay. Yeah. What I'll do here, should need to be right. Let's call it as okay. Okay. First pattern we are going to talk about is singleton design pattern. Singleton design pattern. What is singleton design pattern? Basically what happens when you create a class, right? When you create a class, anybody can access that class and anybody can create an object from the class, right? You guys agree with me? So in generally in typical in Java, like you have a Java class, and as long as you have a public Java class, you can create in the JVM world, in the Java world, you can create, let's say, a class, right? You can create as many objects as you want. Agreed? As many A1 object, A2 object from this class. A3 object, A4 object, object. Okay. You can create as many objects as you want. So let's say I don't want to create I want to create only single object for this class. Only single object, no matter what. I want to create at any cost. I don't want to create multiple instances of that class. I want to create only one instance of the class. I want to create only one instance. If somebody try to create, if there is an instance already available, give that instance to the user. Right? So, let's go. A class. Once you create A1 object, and let's say you created B class, B object as well. B object want A, B object want A object, so it should directly refer to A1. And there is another object called C. C want another A object. Instead of creating another A1 object, it should go and use the same object. If you want to create a single instance of a class, if you want to create a single instance of a class across your application, then you need to go for singleton design pattern. So how do you create an object? Using new keyword, right? How do you create an object? Using new keyword. So somehow you need to restrict, okay, somehow you need to restrict your application using the new keyword to create your class, so that always be same object will be returned. Always same object will be returned. So let me show it to you. So in order to do that, they've come up with singleton design pattern. So they said if you follow these steps, you can get singleton design pattern, and you always get for that class only single object will be created. I'm naming that singleton design, singleton, yeah, basic singleton. So I have a class called singleton demo. So generally what you will do, you have this class, simple class. You want to, if somebody want to access this basic singleton, what they will do? They will say basic singleton new singleton, right? So if you want to create another class basic bs2 equal to so here what happened? How many objects you created? Two different objects, right? You are allowing them to create as many objects because your constructor is accessible. Because your constructor is accessible. So what they will say? First thing, okay, how to make a class, a singleton class. You need to make your constructor private. Okay, you need to make your constructor private. So now let's try here. Now if you try basic singleton bs equal to new basic singleton, it will give an error because you made it private. As soon as you made it private, you cannot create an object by using the new keyword. That is good. So you restricted someone creating your instance. It is good to some extent, but somehow you need to create, right? When you're writing a class, the core purpose is creating an instances. But here you want to create an instance, not instances. So how do we achieve? What they say? Define private static basic singleton. So basic singleton reference variable you are creating basic singleton equal to initially do it null. Okay, then inside what you can do, so you created a basic instance reference variable, but you haven't created an object, it is still holding null. So what they suggest, create public static method which will return basic instance, basic single instance. Basic singleton, let's say get instance. There is some method, you can name it whatever you want. Okay, then here what they suggest you, if basic singleton assigned is null, create it. Basic singleton equal to new basic singleton. See, constructor can be accessed within this class, right? Outside you can't access because of the private. And then return basic singleton. See, if you observe, right, what you did, you first restricted someone creating an instance for this class. You restricted outside, you restricted outside the world creating an instance of this class. So using private constructor. Then you created a public static method which will return the class instance. How does it returns? Every time it will check, is this instance available or not. If it is not available, create it and return it back. So first time what will happen, if somebody try to access get instance, basic singleton dot get instance, because how can they access get instance when they are not able to create a basic instance constructor? How come they are able to access get instance? Can anyone tell? Because of the static. When you have a static keyword, you can access those static methods, static variables through class name as well, right? With class name also you can access those instances, static members, right? So you can call basic instance singleton dot get instance. It will come here, it will verify basic singleton class is null or not. First time it is null. What it will do, it will create, and now this basic singleton is filled up with basic singleton object, and it returns. Next time if somebody asks, same object will be returned back. To prove that, let me show you. Public equal to 10. Okay, here let's come back here. So now you can't use this approach. As creating through constructor is restricted, so the other approach is basic singleton dot get instance is available. What it returns, get instance is returning basic singleton, right? So you need to that's your core purpose. You need basic instance singleton object, bs equal to bs1 equal to, okay, sysout basic singleton instance 1 basic singleton. Let's see, I'm just to show you, I'm creating another basic instance. Whether it is creating a new one or not, I'll show it to you. Return get instance sysout bs2 dot, yeah, we'll see, that is also you can see, and sysout bs1 dot, okay. Here what we'll do, bs basic instance 2 dot a you are incrementing basic instant to object v variable. Okay, so now if we display basic instance to dot a, but sys out bs 1 dot a. See what I did here. First thing, we created bs1 is holding basic instance object address, right? And a value is initially 10 is there. Okay, we created basic instant to object. Let's assume it is not created same object. Okay, 2. Now we incremented 10 to 11 and this is occupied by bs2. This is what our assumption is. Okay, but instead of what is happening, it is, even though you are asking for new get instance, it is giving back to you same instance, right? Because if you first time when you ask, right here, this is the first line you are asking get instance, so the basic singleton is empty. Now the new basic singleton object has been assigned to basic singleton reference variable. Now second time when you ask for it, this one is not empty, so it doesn't create new one. Whatever it is there already, it will return it back. That is the reason when you try, even though you modified a value through bs2, it will reflect on bs1 as well. See what will happen. See, there are two ways to prove. Same reference variable bs1 and bs2, and first time the value is 10, and after bs2 modifying the a value, when you try to access the bs1 again a value, you're getting 11. Make sense? This is how you can create a singleton. This is how you can create a singleton object. So what are the steps? Make your constructor private, create private static reference variable of that class, and create public static method which returns the singleton class, and inside you can check whether the basic singleton is null or not. If it is null, create new, otherwise return existing one. In interviews, lot of basic level they will ask. Okay, this is how you can create a singleton design pattern. Okay, you understand now? Now let's see another pattern called MVC pattern. Okay, com dot MVC design pattern. Now we're done with what you call simple singleton MVC design pattern. Well info. So in this package, basically MVC demo will create one class called, that is where we have MVC demo. Okay, this design patterns doesn't use any libraries. Simple. In your same logic, how do you do? By doing differently, you'll solve some problems. Okay, MVC is nothing but model view controller. Model view controller. So model is all your business logic slash database logic, database data logic. View is what we display to the client. Display. Controller is how the data is controlled. Data control. How which data has to be passed to which view has to be displayed for which data. Okay. Model view design pattern is something like whenever you do any development, whenever you do write any programs, make sure you follow certain design pattern, that is nothing but MVC design pattern, so that you segregate your logics rather than keeping into a single place all the database logic, all the controller logic, all the view logic in a single place. Keep it separate. When I say keep it separate, keep it in different files, different ways. Like, in yesterday's program or servlets program, JSPs are our view, right? JSPs are our view. Controller is what? Servlet class. Whatever the servlet class that we have, that is controller. And model is what? Our repository DAO class, where we have our business logic slash data logic. So by segregating this, maintenance would be easier, right? And more maintainable and more understandable as well, rather than everything keeping in the same file, segregated. That's what it is, model view controller logic. Okay. And let's say a simple way of doing it. I'll do a quick program for you. Our case only, I'll take it our typical yesterday's class case register. This is called a model, and I'll call register controller, and I'll call another class called register view. So MVC controller is register controller is controller, register view is view, register is model. So in register, let's keep adding some data like typical, let's see, simple way, private int id, and another one is private string name. Simple. Okay. Right click and generate. Okay, nice. What we going to have in controller, what we going to have in view. Let's say in view, write simple way, public void print. Let's say view is nothing but in our case just printing the data. Okay, registration details, something like that, which will take id and name. I'll just display whatever it is. That's it. Nothing. I don't do much. Okay. This is, let's assume printing is view. Okay. For now, JSP page kind of thing. And what we're going to write in the controller, right? That is important. Where you're going to have both classes, private register. It's a model. Then private register view. And then can write your constructor register controller register model comma register view. Okay, so you're passing those two to the controller. Okay, what is the data, what is the view, kind of thing. Okay, so you're going to assign it to this dot model equal to model provided by the caller, this dot view equal to view provided by the caller. Then here you can have public void set register name. Okay, string name equal to, if somebody passed this name, then what you can do, model dot set name. And public void set register id int id model dot set id. We already did in yesterday's program, but just want to show you this is what design MVC model is kind of. Public same thing int get register id return model dot get id. And another last one is public name string get the register name. It will be written by return model dot public void update view. Let's say I'll just call it a update view. Here you just call view dot print registration detail, whatever it is there. Model dot get id. Don't get confused. It's a, if you look at right, just focus for a second, you'll easily understand. So we know register is if you pass username password, it will display, and register is typical of our model class. Register controller, what it is doing, it takes two model and view as the inputs, and it will have different sets and gets which will take inputs and provides the response, and when you update view, it will go and update the view class. So let's write a demo class. By seeing the final demo, you can understand. This is our main class, right? Let's write another method called private. This is not, whatever I'm writing is nothing to do with model MVC. I'm just trying to show you an example. Okay, extract registration details. Okay, then what you will do here, register, extract, right, register, drag equal to new register, and then register dot set id 1, drag dot set name. Okay, and then return, you filled the register object and return it. It's simple, nothing is there. So here what I will do, give me the register model equal to extract details. Okay, and then register view, you need register view equal to new register view. So all you need to do is see the beauty here. A register controller RC equal to new register controller. What and all you need to pass? Model and view. Okay, you pass the model and view. All you're going to do is RC dot update view. See, in this program, are you calling any of the view? I mean, are you calling any view? It will get update and reflect automatically, right? All you playing with controller, right? You haven't modified view. You just created view object and pass it to the controller. You just created a model object and pass it to the register controller. How the data has been passed from model to view, how the data has been passed from model to view is responsible of controller. Making sense? So all you're doing here is model. You're passing, you prepared the model object, and you passing that model object to the controller, and you passing the empty register view. But your register view will get updated. This model data will be reflected in view. See, this is simple. Okay, model data will get reflected in view through controller. Control is the one who is responsible in converting your data from model to view. That is nothing but MVC structure and definitions. How more controller is controls the data and displays is the controller's responsibility. So if I run now, your view will display, right? See, ID is 1, name is Shiva. Did you ever display the data here? No, it's there in register view, right? Print register, did you called? No. All you called is controller class update view. It's a controller class responsibility to populate the data that has been available in the model to view. That is nothing but MVC model, MVC design pattern. Make sense? Agreed? Oh, nice. That's how you can decouple. Basically, you can decouple model data and view and everything so that it will be more readable, more flexible, more decouple. Okay. So next design pattern. Let me tell you one last one. Factory design pattern. What is that? Factory design pattern. com dot bell info dot batch dot factory design pattern. Let's take a car factory. Okay, factory demo. Just a simple like factory demo, we'll call it. This is the demo class. Okay, so factory design pattern is nothing but, see, you go to car manufacturing and you don't care how many cars are there, how the car has been prepared, how the car has been designed, all this stuff, right? You just go and get the output of the car, how the car functions, how the car works, right? You don't worry about how many cars are there, like how the data has been provided, how the car has been fitting all the pieces together, kind of thing, right? So it's a factory. Factory is responsible in providing you the car factory is responsible in providing you the car without you much worrying about how it has been designed and all the stuff inside the car. Okay, same thing here. Factory class is will have a collection of car factory will have a collection of cars based on your request. Those kind, your car will be returned. If you ask BMW car, you will get the BMW car. If you ask Honda car, it will get the factory will get you Honda car. Okay, that's how it is. The factory pattern works. Like, I'll show you simple way. This is the demo class, and let's create Audi car. Before creating Audi car, let's create a simple car. Okay, I'll say car. In this car, sorry, it's an interface. Okay, let's create an interface so that whoever want to create, they can create, right? Okay, so this interface is going to have what? A method called models. That's it, a dummy implementation. There is no specification, just a specification. There is no implementation. Okay, so now I'm going to create BMW car. I'll simply create, and I'll create another class Audi. I'll create another class Honda. Okay, nice. So all are going to have the behavior of car, right? So all going to have car implementation. So it going to all you need to implement same typical all the model implementation, right? You need to implement that, right? Audi car models, A3, A5 and A8, something like that. So I'll use the same thing. Okay, other classes. BMW also implements car. What are BMW models? BMW 3 or BMW 5, something like that, right? Yeah, this way also implements. Okay. This guy you need to implement an implemented method. Honda models, card, Civic, right? Okay. So each one has their own implementation right now. So we need to, what they suggest you now is like create a car factory. Okay, factory class. We need a factory class right now. Let's say this is what factory design pattern. Car factory. Public car, get car, string brand. Okay, so here is the interesting part, right? Like what car factory, all the input required for the factory car factory is what brand you are looking for, right? So that's the reason it returns the car. If this car can be BMW car, this car can be Audi car, this car can be Honda car, based on the input that you get. Based on the input that you ask the factory, corresponding car will be returned, right? So let's say car equal to null, and if brand, okay, if the brand is BMW, if the brand is whatever the client provided brand is BMW, then what you can do, you return, you assign what car? New BMW car. Else same logic. If it is Audi, return Audi. Else if it is Honda, return Honda. So and then end of this class you need to return corresponding class. So this is what called factory pattern. A factory pattern is a pattern that will return you the corresponding object based on your request. So based on the client is going to what pattern, right? So the corresponding car you're going to get. Make sense? So let's write a demo class. That is the our source of truth, right? So I'll say car factory equal to new car factory. Okay, so what I will do, car factory dot get car of BMW. What you will get? Get car of BMW. So now if you display car dot models, what it will display? BMW 3, BMW V5 models will be displayed, right? If I change this one to Audi, same car will display, this model display A5, A3, A5. You see, based on the input that you provide, this factory class will able to get you corresponding car back, right? That is nothing but factory pattern. Car models BMW. So you don't need to change, actually you don't need to go back and call explicitly. You don't need to worry about what kind of different models. All you need to just ask for that model. You don't need to modify these classes. You don't need to create an object of these classes, BMW, Audi. All you need to do is ask a factory pattern, give me corresponding car. If you say Audi, you will get Audi car. If you say Honda, you will get the Honda car. This is nothing but factory pattern. Let me show you some definition pattern. I may not be putting in the right words. Yeah, in class-based programming, the factory pattern is a creational pattern that uses factory methods to deal with the problems of creating objects without having to specify the exact class of the object that will be created. Right? You are not specifying exact car of the Honda class that you want. Factory patterns, it's a factory patterns responsibility to create the exact object. It's factory patterns responsibility rather than user responsibility. Okay, and singleton, right? That is also, I'll show you singleton. Patterns in software. Essentially, a singleton is a class which only allows a single instance of itself to be created and usually gives you simple access to the instance. Make sense? There are different ways of singletons as well. You go back and look. So now come back. You understand at least 3 design patterns? There are a bunch of design patterns there. Okay. If we keep discussing all this, all our course will be enough to discuss all the design patterns. So go back and read. So basically they're segregated into 3 parts: creation, structural, behavior. Or else you can call it in another way is class pattern or object pattern. Okay. So if you look at the examples, all we discussed is singleton, factory pattern. There will be MVC pattern. I didn't mention, I guess, here MVC pattern. So there are other patterns: adapter pattern, interpreter pattern, template pattern, facade pattern, observer, command, composite, decorator, iterator, strategy, bridge, prototype. There are a bunch of patterns. Just go back and read all different kind of patterns that are available. Okay, and try to understand whatever we discuss. Okay, so tomorrow we'll start spring, and in spring especially we are going to start about spring IOC, and we'll discuss about different things that has been involved in inversion of control and dependency injection, spring IOC container. How do you create an object? How the spring will take care of creating an instances? How do you need to communicate with the spring? how do you convey the information to the Spring, and what are setters and what are set getters or construction based injections, what is auto wiring, or all these details we'll start discussing. Yeah, that's good. Like we getting into the Spring is really good. Like, that gives me confidence, like we are on track, and we're going to finish as planned. Okay, thanks guys.